I want you to take a moment and think back to your final days in school. Imagine the fun you had celebrating your biggest accomplishments. From surviving your exams to finding that wonderful prom date to receiving that highly coveted diploma. These were some of the best memories of your life, weren't they? Now think, where in this college town can you celebrate these milestones like your 21st birthday or the conclusion of another brutal finals week? What better way than to have one of the wildest nights of your life than at the Gentlemen's Club, Buck and Wild? Hi, I'm Ed, one of the founders of Buck and Wild. I know your first knee-jerk reaction is, why would you propose a gentleman's club to me? Well, quite honestly, this was kind of how Buck and Wild came to be. It started as a joke between family, and well, it became a reality when we realized that this town could use a little more spice in its nightlife. There is no denying the fact that Laramie is indeed a college town. For most of America's youth in college today, they spend their 21st birthday while in their junior to senior year of university. Their newly acquired freedoms include the ability to purchase and consume alcohol and attend Gentlemen's Club. So putting both together, it just makes perfect business sense. With the other forms of adult entertainment being its bowling centers or, let's admit it, quite saturated bar scene downtown, adding one more activity for students to partake in can only improve the numbers across the board for the city. But you don't have to just take my word for it. Joining me today is a somewhat unexpected expert to help prove my case.
Here with me is a former pimp who is also known as Greasy G. He is here to help us answer a few questions. So, Greasy G, how well would you think a strip club would benefit Laramie?
Well, you know, there's a need in this town, and there's definitely business here. With me no longer in the game, retiring, wifed up, there needs someone else to fill those shoes. Probably legally this time would be good. I don't recommend jail time. It's not really for everyone. Seen some stuff, been there, done that.
Do you believe a gentleman's club like Buck and Wild would be profitable?
Come on. Let me tell you this. Yes. You know why? Who do you think my clientele was? These young university students in need of a job, tired of waitressing? Come on. Yes. Who do you think I employed? The entire town of Laramie was my oyster before I was locked up. It's a sad and lonely town. She would be excited for a chance of humping and pumping, a little bit of different action.
Now I know what must be on your mind after that. Gentlemen's club reputations, they're commonly mired in some not so favorable opinions. Here to talk to you a bit more about that is my brother, co-founder, and operations manager, Ed. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Ed, also known as Ed Boy. I'm here to convince you that despite the social stigma around gentlemen's clubs, we're going to be leaders and the catalyst to change the notion that gentlemen clubs are indeed fine establishments of gentlemen and women and everything in between. We here at Buck and Wild are avid supporters of the sex industry and strive to treat only our employees and patrons with the utmost respect that they deserve. Only the nicotine and alcohol products bought within the club are going to be allowed to be consumed within the club premises. And no outside food, drinks, and or nicotine products are going to be allowed inside. This, along with the strict policy and respect that are expected from our customers towards our employees, the moment that they enter our premises will be heavily enforced by our security teams placed throughout our location. Our employees need only to indicate any form of discontent from a patron for them to be removed from our establishment. No questions asked. We at Buck and Wild understand that in order to promote positivity within our industry and community, we must also be leaders within them. But you don't have to take it from just us. We also took to the streets to find what others may think about Buck and Wild.
So here with me is Joe Taylor, a father of 13 children and small business owner of a used vacuum shop. If I may ask a couple of questions.
Yeah, of course.
First being, after reading the proposal for Buck and Wild's Gentleman Club, what are your initial thoughts?
Well, as you know, I'm quite the family man. 7 sons, 6 daughters, and a wife. I couldn't stand to be around more than 30 minutes. And the thought of such a vile business, is it's not very comforting to me. And by hell, it's 2020. I could tell you about some of the things my kids say and some of the things they think, with yeet this and cancel that. I don't know what they're talking about half the time. But you know what they are. But you know what they are that I never was comfortable with their sexuality. For sure, let me tell you. Even the topic of sex isn't taboo anymore. And let me tell you, as a parent, it's much more easier to have those conversations with your kids. Society isn't making big of a taboo out of it that they did when I was a youngin', for sure. So if you're really going to follow through with your support of this sexing industry, as I like to call it, leader of the industry and respectful and all that, then I guess it could be a good thing.
Okay. So as a successful business owner of your used vacuums, how much financial sense does the proposal's business plan make to you?
Well, the industry's growing, no doubt about that. And a kid's gonna grow up sometimes. I mean, hell, my kids are 12 and 13. It's about time they were exposed to this kind of thing. When I was a young adult, you bet your ass I was trying to see all there is to see, anatomy and health-wise. A skating rink is only fun so many times, and let's be honest, the bars around here are all the same. So crowded with these damn millennials, they can't even catch what's going on with the game. Not once. So now I'm a married man. I won't be caught dead in this establishment, I promise you that. But I wouldn't mind somewhere else for them millennials to scamper off to while I'm at the bar trying to watch the game. I'm not opposed to having something more in town for them to do, for sure.
All right, and what about the staffing practices at Buck and Wild? What do you make of those?
Well, let me tell you, it's not about these kids you'll be employing, all right? They're young and full of fire in their loins and otherwise. And I still can't understand these new cable remotes with cocks and all these damn buttons. And there's like 20 of them. I can't ever find the volume button. But these kids, they learn fast, let me tell you. And they all want to learn all the time. And I mean, that's why most of them are in college, right? Because they like to learn. So have them go do their jig on stage, Orange Justice, Fortnite dances, Fort Day, whatever it's called, dances or have you, then whip up them drinks, or clean the stalls, what have you. It's ingenious as long as you hit and you hire the right Joes. So you look at me, or you look at a lot of these corporate enterprises, and they hire people just to say hi to you right at the door. But back in my day, we worked a real job, had real responsibilities, and that's how it should be done, for sure.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have, but thank you so much for your input.
Yeah, and if you'd like to buy a vacuum, hit me up sometime.
I'll definitely do that.
Now you've heard the mention of donations to other charities during that interview. Following the trend of other clubs before us, a standard cover charge of $5 is expected from all patrons outside the door. 100% of these proceeds will be donated to RAINN, R-A-I-N-N, the nation's largest anti-sexual violence organization. The club will also feature events for all genders to partake in, and will foster a sense of community for those of all, no matter what their sexual preferences are, so long as they are legal preferences. Mindful of our student life as well, we will only be open for business during certain holidays and weekends. And yes, I do want to stress all genders. This entails that all who wish to enter our club are welcomed and charged the same rate, and the same for any of our products. All of our employees will also be paid the same amount in their fields as well, as only seniority and job performance-based bonuses serving as incentives for increasing their wages. It would be ignorant to say that we do not see gender, but it would be correct to say that we value all of our employees and patrons regardless of their gender and preferences equally. Now, I know this all sounds great, but now you might need a little more from the numbers side of things. That is where our brother, co-founder, and financial extraordinaire Eddie comes into play. Go ahead, take it away, Eddie.
Hey there, I'm Eddie. Time is money, so let's get right to it. Our industry is on the rise of a 4.9% average every year since 2009, with projections for 2020 just short of $7 billion. In layman's terms, now is the time to get into the industry, as there is nothing that could slow down the business short of a second Black Plague or some global pandemic. Any money invested now will be made back with about a year. With the location and opportunity afforded to us by Laramie, projections estimate that even shorter than that if we can open our doors just after December. In fact, information from Brandon Coward, former general manager and marketing director at Platinum Elite's Gentlemen's Club, with numerous years of experience at multiple gentlemen's clubs, states that In the first 10 months managing my first strip club, we went from being in debt 30,000 USD to grossing 850,000 USD. Our operating costs for that period were 268,000 USD. And in year 2, we grossed 1.3 million, operating expenses only being 380,000 USD. The increase in operating expenses was due to our marketing and specialty events, still a net of under just 1 million. Now, what of our staff, you ask? Our dancers will be receiving 60% of their earnings while on stage and keeping 80% of any tips outside of their performances in other roles. This is substantially higher than that average flat 50% across the board most other clubs enforce. The company's take will be used to fund other needs of the business as well as other essential employees such as the DJ or security. We plan for a section of our alcohol and nicotine products to be sponsored from companies wanting to partner with us. Generally, our take home for the club will be no less than 38% of sales. This may seem as an aggressive cut on our part, but given our prime location and demographic of Laramie, we believe it's the most acceptable offer. These percentages, of course, will vary among partners and their products. Of course, while we tell you this is above the norm, an opinion from a specialist would also be welcome. That is why we consulted another one of our guests in this interview.
So here with me is Valentino, a male stripper in the industry for 5 years now. If you wouldn't mind, I would like to ask, dancers typically get paid 50% of their total earnings from their establishments, correct?
Well, it's typical for a generous cut for your dancers. You would have a younger audience, richer clients, and a little competition in your location to pull that off. But given that Laramie is a college town with a little nightlife competition, it does make to be the perfect grounds for a gentleman's club. The cuts also make sense, given that we would be taking over the duties of bartending and socializing, which in my opinion is the direction the industry should take. We make tons with a good customer base. It's sad to see it divvied up with coworkers that only greet the clients coming in. I mean, damn, it's my motion of the ocean raking up all this cash. Not Miss Polly Pocket by the door with eyelashes so long we use her as fly traps in the summer.
Surely, in your experience, there has been some shady business from your employers or clientele. What do you think of Buck and Wild's pledges for a no-nonsense approach?
What all clubs should do. The fact that you are donating 100% of the initial cover charge to RAIN is a huge boon to anyone aware of them, customer or employee. It definitely makes your business stand out among the employees as favorable in that aspect alone. Further enacting a sort of equality cause in your business model also offers untapped customer bases, many of which most prevalent in college students, which will look to most of your demographic in this town. I mean, didn't Bill Nye the Science Guy used to live in this town? The man himself said gender is a spectrum. Bill can't be wrong. He's the one that taught me all this science shit I know.
Do you think a club here in Laramie would be profitable?
It would be nonsense for you to not follow through with your plans for Buck and Wild. 90% of those students will turn 21 while here in Laramie. You and your employers will make a killing off those parties alone. You know how many people have never seen an ass before 21? It's astounding.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Valentino. I know you got a show coming up.
You bet your ass I do, sugar.
So as you can see, our ambition and confidence in our endeavors are not unfounded. And after having crunched the numbers for my brothers, entirely financially feasible. But in case you still not haven't been entirely convinced yet, please listen to what my brother Ed may have to conclude our proposal to you.
Welcome back. At this point, I think you may have but one major doubt to our plan. How qualified are the Yetis? Well, let me assure you, Destiny has brought us into the world for this very moment. This very opportunity, this very occasion where you, sitting here, watching us, was just meant to be. Allow me to elaborate, starting with myself, of course. My experience from pitching used cars in dirt lots to the head of marketing for the U.S. division of Coca-Cola before the Jenner ads allows me to make the most out of marketing for Buck and Wild. I consider this project my magnum opus. Now our brother Eddie has spent much time as a DJ, promoter, bartender, and even private dancer on many illustrious clubs and bars. He is the perfect people person. He's able to switch to whichever persona makes the best impression for each client. Our other co-founder, our brother Ed, he's the brains of our group. The man practically came out of the womb with an abacus in hand. His talent and experience go far beyond our family's taxes, having experience in many corporate financial offices and consultings. I would trust nobody else than my very own gifted brother with all things financial and legal. So with that, the decision is all yours, our illustrious investors. As Greasy G had once said himself, there is a need in this town, and I think our shoes are big enough to fill them. Thank you for your time, and no matter your decision to invest or not, you will always be welcome at Buck and Wild. Thank you.